And here in our timeline, we have a set of videos that will all combine together to create something a little unique. But here's the problem. When we try to play back our footage, it's not actually playing back in real time. It's stopping, jumping forwards, and it doesn't really help us to see the work that we've actually done. So in order to play back this at full speed, we need to render out our timeline. This will tell Premiere Pro to go over our entire timeline materials and create temporary video and audio files to help it play back what we have at its proper speed. But first, let's take a look at the top of the timeline here, where we can see that there's 3 different colored bars: green, yellow, and red. Green is good. The green bar means that the segment of our timeline here has rendered previews associated with it, which means that you can play back your video at full quality, certain that it'll be smooth and full speed. The yellow is a caution. This means that there are no rendered preview files for this segment, and each frame will be rendered just before the playhead displays it. If this is an easy-to-process codec, your playback should still appear in real time, but there's still a chance that it won't. The red section, like the yellow, indicates that this segment does not have associated render preview files to help it play back. Additionally, this indicates that there are effects taking place during this segment and will make it even more difficult for your playback to be done smooth and in real time. You can see, for example, that if I take a yellow section here and then drop a warp stabilization effect onto it, it becomes red, indicating that there's a challenging effect present and to not expect smooth playback without rendering. And finally, there's a chance that you might have no color above some segments of your timeline at all. This means that this section doesn't have rendered preview files associated with it, but the codec of the media is simple enough that it's been designated to pretty much not even need one. Playback for these sections is pretty much guaranteed to be in real time. So if you look at your timeline and see one of these particular indicators, you know more or less what you're in for. So if you've got yellow or red sections and you're experiencing spotty playback, to solve that we have a few options. First, we can simply hit the Enter key. What this does is render all of the effects present in our timeline between the set in and out markers. If you don't have in and out markers set, it'll just take into consideration literally any red sections on your entire timeline. So essentially, Premiere Pro is rendering out any sections that have video effects present. And once the rendering is done, these sections will turn green and be able to be played back more smoothly. You can also achieve this by going up to Sequence, Render Effects into Out. But this won't impact any yellow sections. So alternatively, what you can do is just straight render into out. What this does is take into consideration both red and yellow sections and create preview files for both, so that now everything turns green and can be played back more smoothly. And lastly, if for example you had a large timeline, but you're just wanting to work on a small section, and rendering out the whole timeline is just taking way too long, you can highlight a certain portion of your timeline and go up to Sequence and choose Render Selection, which will isolate the rendering to only that portion alone which you highlighted. So with each of those options, Premiere will go ahead and create temporary video and audio files associated with your project sections and allow you to have a much smoother playback. This is one way to make your editing experience much more enjoyable, as you can get a true understanding of what your changes have actually produced, seeing exactly what your transitions, effects, warp stabilizations, etc. look like in real time. But this is far from the only method to saving time and experiencing smooth, responsive playback in Premiere Pro. There's still a chance that if you're working with high-resolution files or video codecs that are more difficult to handle, you'll still have a challenge with snappy, responsive timeline work. One way to get around this is to use what are called proxy files, which we have a video all about if you're interested, and I've linked to it in the description below. But guys, that's just been a quick overview